Hey guys, so Lord here, back in with another action figure review, and today I'm going to be taking a look, finally, at the Gargoyles Ultimate Armored Xanatos, brought to us by the fine folks over at NECA Toys, as well as Mr. Brian, aka the old man, aka my dad, who got me this guy for Christmas this past year, so shout out to him for that. I've needed this guy for a hot minute. It's just, these NECA Gargoyles figures are more expensive than your typical NECA figure, so the budget just wasn't there. But after this guy, I think the only ones I really feel the need to pick up are the Silver Falcon, or as I like to call him, Perry Mason Broadway, and the Sega Genesis Goliath. I wouldn't mind having those. I'm on the fence about that 2-pack, just because it has the Phoenix Gate in it, but unfortunately, if you haven't guessed it, this line's been canned by NECA Toys because, well, probably poor sales due to the wings, because they weren't engineered very well at all. And this guy, unfortunately, is no exception to that rule, albeit his wings actually get out of their own freaking way. So there is a small silver lining with this figure, but before we get too far ahead of ourselves, why don't we cut right to the chase and get into the meat and taters of this review and take a look-see at all Xanatos has to offer in terms of accessories. He's got a pair of grip hands. He's got a pair of kind of relaxed, flat, open hands. We also get a pair of claw hands. I can hold it. There you go. We get a pair of forearm mounted cannons, which you can just pop a little plate off the forearm and plug these in. Pretty easy. Sorry, there's some transformers off screen that are getting in my way here. We get a couple of blast effects for, I believe, the feet, as well as a larger one for the back. And last but not least, we do also get an unhelmeted Xanatos head. Now, I wish this was a different sculpt from the previous Xanatos figure. As you can see, it's direct reuse of this. But I will say, I think this one is painted a little nicer. So you could always throw this on that old figure if you wanted to. I guess he's not that old. I think they came out around the same time, didn't they? But either way, he does come with this collar piece that fits over the neck, which is accurate to the show, but I will tell you, heat this up before you try and put this on. A, it's tight, and B, this ponytail will get in your way. That said, you can put it on the previous Xanatos. I think I am going to actually probably heat that ponytail up and warp it back down, because it is sticking up quite a bit in comparison to this one. So that is that. I will actually snap the sucker on right now, so that is ready to go for comparisons. But that is all you get for accessories. A decent spread. It's enough stuff in the box as far as value goes. However, since this line is canned, I do wish he came with the Eye of Odin. It is the only artifact from the trifecta of magical artifacts from the Gargoyle series I do not believe we got in this line. And this would have made sense to give it to, because I do believe he wore this armored suit when Fox wore the Eye of Odin and turned into a giant red werewolf. Werefox. Big old scary monster in the Halloween episode. So, taking a closer look at our armored Xanatos here. He's a little bit more articulated than your typical NECA Gargoyles figure. For starters, the wings have hinges in the middle this time around. So you can actually spread them out and close them up like so. They do have the hinges that we're used to seeing with these figures, and they can pivot up and down, but I wouldn't recommend that. You could loosen that up and then they won't sit up. And, well, that's no good now, is it? His head... Is there any reason I can't get this to fold up some more? That's very odd. I don't know what's going on with that. But his head is on multiple ball joints. He's got like a double in the base of the skull as well as in the neck. But because of this collar piece, this rebreather piece, and the wings, you really don't get much. Although, in his defense, I don't recall it moving a ton in the show. I think it might have just rotated. So there is that. His pauldrons are on hinge joints. They will move up and down. I did have to heat this one. It was warped up, so I had to heat it, push it down. He does have swivel in the shoulder as well as a hinge. He's got a bicep swivel. Double jointed elbow, which is surprising to see on a bigger guy like this, but you do get good range out of that. He does also have a forearm twist, which is also nice to see. We don't get that a lot on these. In fact, I think this might be the only one that has that, although the design does call for it, so that is nice. And you can see these panels here on his forearm where you can pop off and put on the cannon if you want, cannons. He does have a swivel hinge wrist. Looks like a lot of NECA joints. Those were stuck out of box, but I didn't have to heat them up per se to get them to work. I will say, he does have some good torso range, but it's mostly in the waist. He's got a ball jointed waist and a diaphragm joint to boot. But the diaphragm joint doesn't crunch a ton. The waist is where you're going to get a lot of play. And I will say, be wary about these joints. They could get loose due to the upper body weight, but it should be okay. His hips will kick out, back down. They will rotate forward and back. I had to put some soap in there to free those up, because they did not want to move before, and I did not want to break this guy. So be mindful of that. They are nice and solid still, but they don't squeak like the Dickens anymore. So I do quite like that. He does have a thigh cut. He's got double knee. I don't want to futz with that because of how hard it is to get these guys in the degenerate pose. So I'm going to leave that alone. He does have a ankle hinge, which is not the tightest, but it's tight enough. And unfortunately, he doesn't really have a rocker. He's got the ankle hinge here with a swivel, and then he's got a swivel in the toe. And unfortunately, that's not exactly ideal for getting this guy to stand. So be mindful of that when you're posing this guy. He's going to be a little tricky to stand, like most of these figures. I really wish I had a little less articulation in some areas. I feel like that's really the problem, is it's too much articulation. And because of that, the stability suffers for it. Not for nothing, I really gotta bend that toe forward, I think. I can get it forward without messing it up here. Let's see. Jeez. That is kind of a pain right in the nuts, though. There. That should be better. It is. His toe's actually on the ground now. Okay. Then, of course, he does have the bendy wire tail, which will pivot side to side on mine because that's the way I have it positioned. It will rotate, and then, of course, it's got a bendy wire in it. I don't need to show you that. It's bendy wire. You know the drill by now. But a cool figure, but much like many a NECA Gargoyles release, finicky as all get out. And that's probably the main reason these aren't being made anymore. I will say, quite a few of them are going for stupid money now, so I'm glad I got this guy when I did, because I'm honestly surprised he's not one of the harder ones to find, because he is arguably one of the better figures in the line, from an aesthetic and value standpoint. You seem to be getting a lot with this guy, even if he has got his own set of issues, like this gosh darn foot. Alright, there we go. Now he wants to stand up. I mean, I'm not going to be able to do much better than that. A figure this finicky, you're lucky I got that far with it. So, I like the figure. I like it a lot, actually. It is probably one of the top, oh gosh, probably top 3 figures in this line, I will say. But unfortunately, this line was riddled with issues right out the gate. So is that saying much? I kind of think it is, because even compared to like NECA figures that are better than a lot of the figures in this line, I still think he holds up. It's just those feet. Those gosh darn feet. So with that being said, I think it is time now that we move right along and take a look at both some comparisons and some size comparisons. First up, here's our NECA Toys Ultimate Armored Xanatos alongside his Kenner counterpart, which, yeah, I'll admit, doesn't age the best. But hey, at least we got the red one, because when this guy first came out, bring him off to the side here, he was originally gunmetal, or this really dark silver color, which is actually, if you can believe it, show accurate, but much later in the series, towards the end of Season 2, when the Gargoyles face off against the dark elf known as Oberon. Xanatos actually wears a suit like this. So it's surprising that NECA didn't seize that opportunity to make that version of Xanatos. But I guess we're lucky they made 2 versions of him at all, considering this line is canned, right? Getting him out of the way. We then have the suit version of Xanatos, and I took the liberty of swapping on the unhelmeted Xanatos head from the armored Xanatos here, and, well, it does look a little better. It's not as tight as the original head, but it is a little bit better, I will say. So I will most likely be using this moving forward. I'll move him over a little bit just so you can see him a little better. There you go. He's kind of in the shadow of his wing there. And then, if my rather small review set will allow, I will move him over a little bit so we can bring in the figure this figure was based off. We have the Steel Clan Robit, who, like Armored Xanatos, a very, very large figure. I think you can see them both there. But, yeah, they look good together. I kind of wouldn't mind getting a second one of these, just because I don't really need to worry about having space for Cold Stone. That said, I do have to worry about having space for a 2-foot-tall Mythic Legions dragon, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Getting him out of the way, though. I'm going to center old Xanatos as best as I can here. Because, again, big, awkward figure here. Very big, awkward figure here. But now it's time to bring in our 2 regulars. The Mythic Legions Brother Mandibilith. Right here. Here. There we go. And the infamous 11 Spawn, who, you guessed it, ain't towering over everyone today because he ain't no big arse gargoyle mech suit. That said, I think it's safe to say that Xanatos here, Armored Xanatos anyways, is a card-carrying member of the Men in Red and Black Club. What say you? I say yes, absolutely. So, with that being said, it's time now that we wrap things up with some final thoughts. Overall, and compared to the standard Steel Clan robot from this line, I think you're getting a little bit more with good old Armored Xanatos here. Not only do you get more accessories, so you're getting more bang for your buck, You're also getting, in my opinion, a nicer paint job. I know the Steel Clan robot was notorious for having pretty scratched up wings. This guy, not the case. He's got really nice red metallic paint, and it just accentuates what was already a really nice sculpt that suffered from not as good a paint. So with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this review. Until next time, I'll catch you guys later.